Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark movie fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today we're discussing the Jane Mysteries, which is streaming exclusively on Hallmark Plus, part of a 3-movie collection, dropping weekly. We'd love to have you follow us on Instagram. We have 2 Instagram accounts, Girls Gone Hallmark and Megan and Wendy. It is just one of the many places you can keep up with what's going on with the podcast, with all things Hallmark, and with the 2 of us.
If you are looking to connect with other Hallmark fans, come visit our Girls Gone Hallmark Facebook group. We have a nice group of people over there who know a thing or two about Hallmark movies.
Indeed they do. Let's head right into a synopsis for the Jane Mysteries.
The Jane Mysteries murder at Moseby. Jane goes undercover at her alma mater to help her college boyfriend solve a crime he may have witnessed years ago during the annual Edgar Allan Poe Festival.
Marco DeFemia returns to direct this installment, adding to his 27 directing credits. He held both previous movies and is set to direct the 4th, premiering on September 26th.
Paula Tiberius penned the script, making this her 11th writing credit and her first for a Jane movie. Her previous work includes The Heiress and the Handyman, a campy thriller called Hunting Housewives, and Christmas in Big Sky, all produced by Brainpower Studio.
Jodie Sweetin stars as Jane De Silva and Stephen Huszar as Detective John Cameron. Both serve as executive producers on this movie, as well as the others in the series.
Paris Jefferson returns as Aunt Sadie. Jefferson has 44 acting credits and will return for the next Jane movie. Fun fact, Jefferson appeared in 2 music videos at the very beginning of her career in 1987. The 2 music videos were for the Australian band called Ice House, and the songs were called Crazy and Electric Blue. By name only, you wouldn't recognize them. But if I played them for you here, you would absolutely recognize these songs.
Fire them up on my way home.
Yep.
Rainbow Sun Franks plays Anthony Germain. This is his 57th acting credit and has appeared in the Netflix series I Woke Up a Vampire and The Umbrella Academy, as well as the Hulu series High Fidelity, an underrated series if there ever was one. Did you watch that series?
No, Zoe Kravitz,
it's
right?
It's great.
1 season?
It's a bummer that it's only 1 season. It's great.
I didn't watch it. Randy Thomas plays Dean Simpson. Thomas has 81 acting credits, including Everything Puppies, Filling Butterflies, and Baby It's Cold Inside for Hallmark. I recognized his face immediately because Randy follows and engages with our Girls Gone Hallmark Instagram quite often.
Nice.
Yes.
Speaking of feeling butterflies, one of my neighbor's children was talking to me about silly Hallmark movie titles and their plots, and he was like, yeah, one's called Butterfly Feelings, and it's about, and I was like, I'm going to stop right there.
No, you did not. I'm an expert in the field. It is called Feeling Butterflies.
I was like, and by the way, the 2 stars of that movie are married to each other.
Kevin McGarry and what's his wife's name?
Kayla.
Did they just get married?
I believe so.
Yeah, exciting.
Jocelyn Zuko plays Sylvia. Zuko has 49 acting credits and has appeared in only one other Hallmark project, a Christmas movie from 2021 called A Royal Queen's Christmas.
Miho Suzuki plays the role of Nami Hisako. This is her 20th acting credit and first project for Hallmark.
What's your first impression of the Jane Mysteries Murder at Moseby?
I need more heat between Jane and John.
My first impression is you lost me at Edgar Allan Poe Festival.
Really?
I don't know what it is, but I can't stand Edgar Allan Poe. If I hear a Raven reference or a Telltale Heart, I'm out. I don't care. I don't like it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, don't watch One Tree Hill then, because I believe
they do a Halloween episode.
No. They talk about the Raven a lot. I'm going to need somebody who has watched and rewatched that series to email us and tell me what the connection is there. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I can't really remember, but
Girls Gone Hallmark Facebook group member, very active Facebook group member, Georgia, said she just realized that the reason the NFL team, the Ravens from Baltimore, is called the Ravens is because of Edgar Allan Poe, which I also did not know. Poe is originally from Baltimore.
Okay. Did you like anything about this movie?
Well, I like a few things about this movie. As much as I don't like a Poe storyline, I did think it was well maintained throughout the movie. They stayed true to the theme. This event occurred during the Poe festival. It's now many years later. And I do think that lends a spooky vibe
Yes.
to a spooky season movie release. So I like that. The first scene in which we see John Stephen Huszar come on screen.
Yeah.
It's when Jane and Anthony are reconnecting and he kind of like walks in on them. Nothing's happening, but there's that vibe of like, who's this guy, right?
Yeah.
A little dick measuring contest happens right there. But Stephen Huszar walks on screen and the man looks jacked. I don't know if you noticed, but I was like, whatever this like off-duty police officer polo shirt vibe you got going on, it was working for him.
I'm telling you, I really like him in this role.
Yeah.
I was never really a big fan of his, but I like him in this sort of serious, dry. I'm into it. And you're right. He does look jacked. I feel like he has thinned out, but also like bulked up at the same time.
Yeah, he's got that like triangle upper body strength, like broad shoulders.
Yeah.
Probably looks good without a shirt on.
Oh my God. Okay.
You act like you're not over here objectifying Victor Webster at every opportunity.
I love Victor Webster, and he's missing from Countdown to Christmas. I'm not happy about it.
You're going to be at the Kansas City experience like, take your shirt off.
Oh my God.
during reindeer games.
Can I make a sign or something? Like, no, you don't want me
Lose
to.
the shirt, Webster. Show us what you're working with. You know,
The
if we were
man-
men making this same
I know.
podcast, we'd get canceled immediately. But
Whatever.
that you're not thinking the same thing, listeners.
Let me talk about how gorgeous I think Brooke D'Orsay is, or let me talk about how these are very pretty people.
For sure.
I'm just admiring their looks and talent.
Yes.
Okay, calling back to your spooky season, I was super into this like eerie storyline. The Poe thing doesn't bother me, but if you've ever watched the original Pretty Little Liars, they have like the same kind of like tension and tone they use in their episodes, especially the Halloween ones. I thought it was very similar, and that's like what drew me in immediately. I love the opening scene with Jodie singing in her little mask and her like
That was her best
hat and all of that stuff. Was really into that. I thought it was
longer
haunting and yeah. And the scene where she is kidnapped, like when I think they put a bag over her head.
And she like yelps.
And she's like, nobody else is behind the stage. Like,
Well, I was like, scream louder, Jody.
alert someone, Jodie. I thought that scene was quite scary. Scary.
I thought that was scary too, and I thought it was real creepy, that scene when she's in her home and she's kind of deconstructing the murder board and we see the shadow.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh.
I think they really leaned in, and I'm glad that it probably was a coincidence when they were going to air this. I don't know when they filmed these movies, but like Halloween season, I thought it was good. I thought it was perfect timing for this movie. I loved, this is such a throwaway, I loved Jodie's pajamas.
Can I tell you, I took a photo on my phone and then I went to Google image search it.
The dark burgundy ones with like the leopard or lion or whatever was on. It's not a lion.
I couldn't find them.
I tried to find them too. That's so funny. Can you see us on the cruise with our like matching Jodie Sweetin, Jane De Silva pajamas?
Yes. I've been searching for some cruise pajamas.
I even requested to follow the costume designer for this because I wanted to find out where those pajamas are from. She hasn't gotten back to me yet.
She's not going to after what I have to say next.
Okay. I have others. Do you have any other likes?
Keep going.
Okay. For me, I liked the mystery in this.
So much better constructed than the first episode.
I think so too. And what I really liked about it, it was an old crime. It wasn't something that had just happened. Like, when we get Hannah Swinson and Curious Caterer, it's always like something like a fresh
How
murder.
many people are going to die in the proximity of these people?
All the time,
Yes.
right? So I'm glad. I know she's like is she considered actually a PI, Jane Da Silva?
I don't know. I mean, she's a singer who just happened to like luck into her grandfather's.
I think it's her uncle's.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
I think it's his. She's not a detective. I don't know if she's like a PI or exactly what her role is, but I was like, okay, this makes more sense here. Mm-hmm. She's trying to deal with an old case that is brought to her. It's not like something that's like
100% agree. And to your point, next week's episode, Too Much to Lose. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's this week's episode as we're recording this. I had been wondering, because this episode kind of sets us up for like an additional mystery. Mm-hmm. However, next week's synopsis does not seem to be in service of that, so never mind.
Oh.
Because I thought, okay, now we're really getting into the story of her mom. And
yes,
maybe we were setting up, which I liked that.
Me too.
Tell me more about that. Let's dig into your backstory.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, okay, now we're kind of setting up for this next movie, but this next movie is not about that.
Well, maybe they're just sprinkling that in while dealing with like other.
Yes,
but
I'm not going to get some immediate resolution on it.
I don't think so. But I agree with you. Like, I like that we're diving deeper into the mystery surrounding her mom's death. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we didn't see the first episode, so I don't even know if it was like addressed in that movie. Mm-hmm. But at least going forward, I like having this through line. Like, it doesn't have to be solved right away. Let's pick at it over the next couple of movies and see if we get closer to some sort of resolution. I like that. I thought there were some really funny moments in this movie, and they come between Detective John and Aunt Sadie. And there's this great line. Sadie presents John and Jane with like some information, and John goes, "Where'd you get this? The internet?" And it was so funny because he's so deadpan dry.
Yeah.
It just makes me laugh out loud.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love Sadie. There was not enough Sadie. There was not enough Aunt Sadie in this movie for me either.
Yeah, she figured much more prominently in last week's movie.
Yeah. Kind of disappointed by that.
Yeah, it was almost like the introduction of the Anthony Germain character took over because he was doing some of the detective work himself.
Yeah, and I don't need him to come back for a future role.
I don't anticipate that he will, although he is staying on at Moseby, right?
He was already like
he was going to take over
professor there
for that. I thought he was going to take over for the guy
for the dean.
The dean, yeah.
Oh,
did I make that up?
I don't know. I thought Sylvia was a great addition. She was funny. She was super into true crime podcasts, and so she kept like referencing like,
oh yeah, she's the admissions worker.
I mean, I know that wasn't like a pivotal like character, but I thought that was fun.
I love how like she was like, oh, they're kept off site, and we're thinking like she doesn't want them to get into those files, and we just learned that it's just a mess. And she's like, I don't want you to see that I have absolutely not been maintaining this area at all.
The way I related to that. I was like, no, I don't have any bowls you can borrow because I don't want to get under the cabinet there where there's 1,800 other things shoved in there. The last thing I thought was really cool was the choir. I thought the singing in this movie, the music was really good.
Yeah, that secondary storyline of the performer who had stage fright, the actual singing was really well done. And these movies do kind of serve as a vehicle for Jodie Sweetin to be able to sing in a movie, but she's got a great voice.
I know.
Let's talk wishes.
Okay.
What in the pattern mixing is happening with Jane's wardrobe? Why? I was in the shower this morning thinking there's got to be a deeper reason why her wardrobe is so bold and there's so many patterns. Like, the girl does not wear a neutral throughout this entire series. And I know you bumped on it last time. I think her wardrobe ages her a little bit. In one of the first scenes, she's in like a green leather jacket and she has a patterned shirt and a patterned skirt, and they don't match.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, why do we, both her hair and her wardrobe adds a decade that I don't think she deserves.
She's younger than us, right? Yeah, she's like a
Yes.
lot younger than us. It's so funny because when I was originally doing my notes, I was like, oh, I really like her wardrobe. And then I was like, wait a minute. I liked the pajamas and I liked one outfit. It was like a white pant with a patterned like green and black shirt that I really liked. I thought that was the most subdued of everything she's wore, but there were some interesting mixing and matching happening.
And I just was thinking, I wonder what it is. It feels to me like there's got to be a reason why they've made this choice for her, and I don't know what it is. Some metaphor that I'm not understanding.
Okay. I mean, maybe.
I just wish maybe it hadn't been that easy for her to get a professorship. Like, here, you work at this college. Boom. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll put in a good word for you, and you can take over.
Yeah.
Especially in a performing arts position where you think you would need some sort of proof that she has any ability to do the job.
I mean, she jumped right in, though. She was like, even if I'm just faking it here, I'm gonna
make it work.
I'm invested in these kids. And so,
What else did you wish for?
okay, the pacing felt a little bit slow, sleepy at times.
Oh, boy.
But on the flip side, like, I don't need it to be fast paced like the cases of Mystery Lane. Like, they're not throwing jokes at us. You know what I mean? They are unraveling like a crime or whatever. It's not just going to come. And especially like an old crime, what do they call those? Cold case. It's not like,
This is one of my biggest issues with this movie, and with many movies, I see this happen. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows that I speak quickly. I process information quickly. I like to receive information quickly. I turn up the speed at which I listen to audiobooks. I find the cadence of this movie and other movies, not just the pacing of the storytelling, but the cadence of the speaking to be slow and frustrating at times. And I don't know what it comes down to. There's one scene where Jane and John and Sadie are speaking in front of the murder board, and each character is being shot from a different angle. So whether they're shot at different times or they're shot from 3 different cameras at the same time, I don't know. I suspect based on the angles they're shot at different times. But there is a pause between each line. We should go look for this person. Yes, I think that's a good idea. Why don't you go do... Obviously, I'm making all this up. Is it in the editing? Is it in the speaking? Is it in the amount of material that they can't cut that closer? Or is that just the way that this director likes to play things out? I don't know, but it felt frustrating to watch.
It's because you're not watching a natural conversation happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I have a question. Do you get frustrated at me? Because sometimes it takes me a long time to find my words. Are you like...
I edit this podcast, and there are many times where there's a long pause between what I am saying, because I'm not talking about the difference between, just like now, being able to find your words. Everybody pauses in conversation. I just think in natural conversation, responses flow more quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Do you wish for anything else?
I was like, maybe it's just the director. Who knows? I don't direct or even pretend to know anything about directing. Maybe they have to. Who knows? I don't know. I said it at the top. I need Jane and John to figure it out if they're gonna like get together or not, because it's a real slow burn, if anything.
Yeah.
And in yesterday's movie review, I was like, did I just not say like it's okay to be platonic? But for this movie, I feel like we're headed down that road, but like, give me something.
I think the only bit you get in this movie is when John appears and finds Anthony and Jane having a conversation in her home, and he's like, "Who's this dude here?" Right?
Yeah, and I believe that's her home, but it's also like their detective place. I know it's not a detective place. Their PI place or whatever. The foundation, I think they call it. Does he just stroll on in the middle of the night?
Well,
she's in her jammies
with Sadie in that moment.
How about some did you see that?
Okay, I want you to hear this in the way in which I intend it, which is not to be snide. There is a children's book called Miss Nelson is Missing.
I know that book.
And in the book, Miss Nelson's students are annoying. And so she returns as the substitute, Miss Viola Swan. And she's got a wig, and she's made herself unattractive, and she's mean. And so that when Miss Nelson comes back, all of a sudden her children will love her and be happy with her. I don't think Jodie Sweetin looks like Viola Swamp. However, the transition from Jane to her singing teacher alter ego gave me Miss Nelson is Missing vibes. Is all I'm saying. She's obviously much more attractive. I don't think she looks like
the dark
caricature.
The dark wig didn't do any favors.
It wasn't so much that it didn't do her any favors. It was just such a stark contrast.
Yeah.
Obviously blonde to black. But
why did she need a wig?
I think because she's known as Jane, the performer.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I did think it was kind of funny that, like, how much they talked about wigs in this movie, considering, like, the heiress and the handyman and everything. Like, I found an article online yesterday about, like, fans freaking out about Jodie Sweetin's wig in this movie. And I was like, oh, that is so funny. Like,
yeah, because I think Hallmark did her dirty, or Johnson or whoever made that movie did her dirty with that wig because she's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And that wig doesn't move.
No, I know. But then, like, it's mentioned the dark wig. Like, oh, I think I can, I don't know. It was funny. Mm-hmm. It was funny. I know there's absolutely no coincidence there. There can't be. Maybe there can be. I don't know.
I don't think it's intentional. That's what you're saying.
That's what I was.
They're not like winking a nod to the camera.
No. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I did spot the faculty sticker on the car involved. Like,
gigantic.
It was huge, right?
Yes.
And I was like, how can you? I mean, that's a super huge clue, dude. And you totally missed it. But then I thought, well, was that intentional? Because it is kind of fun for your audience to maybe be 1 or 2 steps ahead of the investigator. So maybe it was intentional. But then, like, when the dean kidnaps Jodie, he also has a huge ass faculty sticker on his car, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, bro, are you literally trying to kidnap this woman, like, when there's a million people around in a car that is giving it away that it's faculty driving it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me. The opening scene when Jodie is singing. Love the scene. I already told you I did, but it's supposed to be 15 years earlier. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that Miss Jodie Sweetin had a little blemish on her face.
Yes.
That I saw again later in the movie. And I was like, like, continuity purpose, that sucks. But, skin stuff happens.
Sure.
So
she's like, can I just live, please?
Seriously. But
menopause is bad enough.
With that said, though, I don't want anybody finding videos of me and being like, well, look at your skin here. Because even in that recent countdown to Christmas video that we just did, woof. I'm looking way puffy. So please don't send your emails to me because I already know.
But send your eye patches.
Send me your... This episode is sponsored by Burt's Bees. Wish. Anyway, that's all I got.
What did you rate the Jane Mysteries Murder at Moseby?
You're going to freak out. I gave it 3 stars.
What the hell is wrong with you? You gave the same score to this as Falling Together?
I liked both movies.
Wow, 2 stars from me. I'm sorry, I didn't enjoy it that much.
Okay.
And in fact, I know I'm alone because I posted about it on our Facebook group and everyone was like, what are you talking about? This movie is amazing. So...
amazing might be a little bit, but I liked the vibes of this movie.
Cool. One more Jane mystery to go in this collection, and we will be back with another review of that next week. We hope you enjoyed this jam-packed week on Girls Gone Hallmark. If you haven't caught up with everything, we did drop 5 new episodes this week, so you have all weekend to catch up before next week. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.